Going forward, we're going to start our program now. And before we start the program, I'm going to introduce our speakers. I don't know, should I call them speakers today? Because we have a very special name given by Verity. It's called Fireside Chat. Again, that does not come from me. Anyone has any objection, you know who to reach out. And why this title, Fireside Chat? Because it's more. Dinesh, you raise your hand. You have an objection? You took the photograph. You're mute.
Just I want to mute everybody. So just give me a second, because if I unmute, your stop will be voice. So let me mute everyone. Then I will giving the co-host who are the men.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. See, it's not only robots are controlled, even human beings are controlled. That's how I'm being controlled right now. But now, since I have the control, so I will not let him control me again. And we will continue with that. Am I right? Responsible Dinesh? Silence is acceptance. So, yes, so I'm right. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dinesh. And yeah, as I said, let's start by introducing our speakers, and then we will continue the entire session. And you will see how exciting this session is going to be. So let me start introducing our first, I would say, speaker right now. And then we come to the definition of the fireside chat. So it's Dale Ann Clark, DTM, accredited speaker. She's a speaker, she's a trainer, certified world-class speaking coach. You remember the first session I said, if you're looking for a coach, she is a world-class speaking coach. She's president of Speakers Bank Australia, Incorporated, and author of the Speaking Formula. She loves language, learning, and laughter. She believes in combining these in equal measures in all her sessions. In 2017, Dale was a semi-finalist at the World Champion of Public Speaking in Vancouver. She is the first woman in Australia to achieve the accredited speaker designation. You heard the word first woman in Australia. Now, let's see the other first, which are going to come next. Now I'm going to introduce another first, and you will hear and know and hear and understand, hear and get motivated that what it takes to be the first. What does it take to be the first? Way back in 2005, Verity started a journey as the first South African musician, crazy enough to get 2,000 people to buy her album, which she didn't even record it. 15 years later, in 2021, Verity became the first speaker from Africa and sixth woman in history to ever be crowned the world champion of public speaking. Isn't it great? And then she didn't stop. What to do? And then in 2023, she became the first speaker from Africa and the first female world champion to ever be awarded the accredited speaker designation. Helping people to write a different story and be the author of their lives is what Verity is passion today. And today she is going to share the insights into her journey to become an accredited speaker. Dear audience, please give them a huge round of applause for all the efforts they have done in developing themselves and developing the world, shaping individuals to be the best in their own version. And we are so proud and honored in District 20 to have both of you here. And we are going to talk about the fireside chat. So we are not going to put any fire. That's a terminology used for panel discussions. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So it's more serious, more interactive session in panel discussion. That's why that term comes. So it can be very bold questions related to the topic, of course, which we are talking about today. So Dale, Verity, are you ready? It's a contest period, so I have to say, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Bring it
Audience,
up.
are you ready? Thumbs up if you are ready. Great. So the format I'm going to follow is this. I have thought of a few questions which I'm going to ask. Of course, no one knows these questions. And of course, the audience, you can feel free to raise your virtual hand, and I'll look into the chat, the participant section all the time to make sure if you have raised your hand, we will take your questions. Deal? Yes. And you can be the first to ask questions as well. But let me be the first right now to ask these questions. Usually they say ladies first. But I have a challenge right now because we have ladies here. So I'll leave that decision to the ladies to decide who will go first. So a moderator, if you can spotlight Verity and Dale so that.
Sure, DTM. I will.
Okay. Okay. Usually they say the speakers are nervous. Now here the person who has questions in front of him and he is nervous. Great. I can see both of you. Sorry, Verity. Okay. Dale, still not on the spotlight. Yes, now I can see. Ladies, as I said, you both decide who will go first. My question is, what motivated you to pursue accredited speaker designation?
Dale, do you want to start?
Sure, mine's a very short one. It's like saying I climbed the mountain because it was there. Someone told me about it, and I love a goal, I love a challenge. So it seemed like a good idea at the time.
At the time, and what about now?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Definitely has been a worthwhile endeavor, and I can share a bit more about that later if you want to.
Sure. So now we hear from Verity.
So mine was a little bit different. I had never heard of the accredited speaker program until I was in the finals of the World Championships in 2021. And before they announce who's won, they announce who the new accredited speaker is. And I was like, what is this? So it was only after winning the World Championships that I realized there was a whole other avenue that professional speakers could pursue in Toastmasters. But I was so busy dealing with the incredible honor of being world champion for that year that it was forgotten. But I kept getting messages from Cheryl Roche and different accredited speakers saying you should pursue this designation. And the thing that motivated me most, if I'm honest, is because my win and my world champion journey was completely virtual. By going after this incredible designation, it would be my first chance to be in person at a Toastmasters convention and speak on a live stage and prove to everyone that I don't live on Zoom. So it was I wanted to have the thing I didn't have in 2021, which was the community of Toastmasters, and to see if it was possible to get the designation.
It's a different experience altogether, right? When you're on the convention and your name is called as the speaker, to be the accredited speaker, yeah, and you're facing the judges, they actually sit in the front row and you're actually looking at them and you don't know what they're doing. They're just maybe drawing something on a piece of paper, but you think they're judging you. And that feeling itself is so memorable when you come out of the stage as well, and then you carry those memories with you lifetime. And I was part of the convention last time which happened in August, and I got a chance to attend the accredited speaker program, and I could see how actually the the members are coming on the stage and they're trying their level best, and how interesting it is. So it's amazing journey, I'm sure. Now, Dale, you have started the first question, so let me go back to you. But Verity, feel free both among both of you. So I'm not going to say who will go first, as I said. There is an application process to go through. Right? There must be some application form which needs to be filled in. There is a process, there's steps. So can you recap? One of you can take the lead. I know, Dale, you have given us the entire process. If you want to recap that, or where do you want to start, because you have done that as well. And at some time, I want to hear from Dale that I'll not use the word nickname, but the code word, which you have for everyone. You remember you said that year, and whoever has, the first meeting you did mention about you are in that batch where you completed all together, three ladies.
Oh, that's our
That is the
number,
one.
our designation. Right. So Verity's 91. Is that what you're
Okay.
talking
Yeah,
about?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And I'm 93.
And can you explain
Yeah.
what is 91 and 93?
Verity, do you want to take that?
well, it's the same as the world champions. So it's the order that you've got the designation. So what was fun for me was I was the 81st world champion and then the 91st accredited speaker. But that was just the order they called us into the room to tell us that we'd been accredited. So whoever had gone in first would have been 91. I just happened to be called in first.
So 91st.
Yeah.
So audience, if you want to be the 101st this time, so you know where to start today in your day. So yeah, let's hear the application process for those who are attending for the second time or the third time. So at least it's for the benefit. So what is the process of filling the application, the requirements to start the accredited speaker program?
Verity, do you want to take that?
Well, let's see if I can remember from a few years ago. So for level one, I mean, you go onto toastmasters.org. When you click on the accredited speakers program, it gives you all the documents you need. And for level one, to do that first level of application, they're needing you to show that you are a professional speaker. You are earning money from speaking about a topic on which you are considered a subject matter expert. And so there's quite a bit that they need from you to show at least 25 speaking engagements to, I think it's more than 20 people, the names of the clients, the dates of the engagement. They need reference letters from, I think it was 5, Dale, you can always correct me.
That's correct,
5 clients. So I asked 15 clients just because people sometimes are busy and they don't reply and you don't know if they're going to do you a nice recommendation. And they need a video of you speaking to a non-Toastmasters audience at an event. But it was very specific, the video that they needed, which was the hardest part of applying for me, because I didn't have any stage footage because everything had been virtual and I didn't want to apply with one of my virtual keynotes. So luckily they accepted footage from 2019, where I was 6 months pregnant, but doing an event in Cape Town, but it needs to be a single camera shot, no editing, which again, as a professional speaker can be difficult because sometimes your clients have filmed the event and they've put all the editing together and then you couldn't use the footage. They also need in that footage to have the footage of the MC introducing you, which again, a lot of speakers, we just film our speech. We don't film the introduction. So I think it's understanding the requirements of the video that they need, because if you don't send in the right video, you immediately have wasted your $100 or $150 application fee. So it was all those little pieces that you have to have ready. And that's why I always say to people, apply when it's easy for you to put down 25 gigs, when it's easy to reach out to clients who will happily do a reference for you. And it's when it's easy for you to go, oh, I've got quite a bit of footage I can choose. That's very stressful if you don't have all those things. So that's my recollection of the process. But it was a lovely process because you go, oh, wow, look, I'm a busy professional speaker. It's fabulous.
I think if I can add to that, one of the
Please.
delights for me was contacting clients and discovering how willing they were to do the testimonial and how generous, and I think it actually improved our relationship. You know, I was a little bit hesitant about asking them to do it, and they were so warm and so enthusiastic. So I think you discover a new kind of realization of how much your clients appreciate you.
And were your clients following up with you to see how you did, Dale?
Yes.
Yeah, mine as well. They were like, have you gone? What's happened? They were so excited. It really was a beautiful relationship building connection space.
Absolutely.
I just want to add here, there's absolutely, you said right, there are 25 speeches to be performed, 20 plus audiences to non-Toastmasters, right? That is a condition as well. It has to be non-Toastmaster audiences. It should not be the workplace where you're working, because they want you to go in a forum where you are not actually comfortable. So to test yourself more and more, that's the whole idea. So you become a professional and accredited speaker. And out of which some of them needs to be paid speeches where the client has to accept that they're going to pay you in a form of either some cash, or they arrange the venue and the dinner, but some sort of sponsorship from the organizers. I think that is the rule. And one thing which I experienced when I submitted the reference form, because I got a chance to speak 2-3 times for the same sponsor, and they did not accept the same sponsor's reference letter. So that it has to be someone new. But getting 5 is not a challenge, isn't it? And yes, when they follow up with you, I think they have the trust that you are doing good. That's why they're calling you. And when they follow up, they want to see that their contribution is working in your success, and how they can help you more and more and help others like you who's trying to develop themselves. Now, since we talked about the non-Toastmaster audience, how did you, from your experience, you prepare that 25 non-Toastmaster speaking engagements? What was your approach?
I can jump in. I was already a professional speaker when I joined Toastmasters. So all my speaking, you know, if I do a talk at Toastmasters, it was just part of being a club member, which I always enjoyed, or if I was a division director. But that for me, I didn't see as professional speaking. So it's about having a subject that you are considered an expert on, that you're speaking in corporate spaces or to schools or to NGOs, but where people want you at the front of a room sharing something of value for them. And so that is, I think sometimes, and maybe I should just touch on this, there is a misconception that the accredited speakers designation is the same as becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. It's not part of the Toastmasters program. It's not something that every member should be trying to make happen. This is for people who are members of Toastmasters and speak, present, or facilitate for a living. And so that's why it shouldn't be difficult to give those 25, because it's what you're doing for a living, not going, I want to just get this because it's another thing to do in Toastmasters. I don't know if you agree, Dale, but that's my take.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, when people first started telling me to apply for it, it was actually back in 2014 already. People were saying, you should go for it. You should go for it. You're speaking professionally. And I didn't even really look at the criteria or what it was or anything. It was sort of, yeah, you know, one day eventually I'll think about it. And yeah, it took me another almost 10 years to actually sit down and look and go, what's involved here? Oh yeah, I'm definitely there and ready to apply. But like you, also struggled with getting the video footage. So it's not as easy as just doing it. But to come back to your question about how you prepare for presentations, I think every client is different and every client has different requirements. So even if you've got a specific keynote that you give, and I'm sure Verity will agree, you still look at what is their conference theme, what are they hoping to achieve, how can you make it relevant to that audience. And for me, I'm always I always speak under the umbrella of communication, but I do go in lots of different directions. So I talk about feedback, I talk about confidence, I talk about speaking structure. You know, I'll often go in different avenues, but it's always around what are their needs, what are they looking to achieve by the engagement, and then working hand in hand. And as experience, you know, the more experience I get, the more I realize clients really appreciate it when you take the time to sit down beforehand and really nut out. You know, when I was new to the business, I thought you had to arrive with a cookie cutter, you know, your work was there and you delivered. Now I realize you can mold, adapt, and work with them.
Lovely.
Love that.
So you touched base a couple of things where you talked about the client and their needs, what they want to hear. So how do you select the topic for your presentation to the clients, to the non-Toastmaster audience? It can be a corporate or it can be a public event. So how do you select the topic? I mean, I'm sure this will be a question from all the audience present here today, and those will be, if we have the permission to make this video public after the session is over. So the same question will be in everyone's mind: how to select the topic. And this has been a challenge for me for quite some time, that how I select my topic to a particular event when I go. So it takes long time to think before I say yes to anyone.
Do you want me to
Verity,
kick
do you want to
I
take
can
it
kick off?
first?
I think let's make a rule. Verity, you go first.
Oh,
Because every time Dale is asking you to go first, so please.
Oh, well, thank you. We can try see that rule, and then I'll defer to Dale if I don't have an answer.
I'll change the rule. I'm the controller here.
I love it. I love it, Khalid. So from my side, I have 3 or 4 set keynotes and topics. I talk about think ahead of the crowd, which is innovation. I talk about lead with optimism, how positive leaders drive positive results. I talk from stage fright to limelight, which is my journey of someone who used to skip school because I was so scared of being on stage, to becoming world champion. Or I have find your voice, find your power, which is talking about presenting skills, and it's a masterclass on speaking. So when I meet with the client and they tell me what their conference is about, I will send them a brochure of what I have. So often they come and they already go, you know what, this one really spoke to me. And then we talk about the theme, and like Dale, I'm already seeing how can I adjust that piece of content to give them the maximum value for their conference. And or when I'm talking to someone, I can hear what they say. I say, you know what, I think this talk is the best one, but I have set pieces. I'm not someone who's constantly writing new keynotes, but I now have the secret to success in Toastmasters and life, which I've actually taken into the corporate space, which even though I talk about my Toastmasters journey, I'm teaching them a lesson around the power of saying yes to opportunities. And then I have a new keynote, but I'm not constantly rewriting for clients. I'm adapting for them. But this is the important piece, that if you are a speaker speaking in that more corporate paid for space, you have to be an owner of content. You have to have things that you love talking about, that you are qualified to share. Even if a lot of professional speakers, they talk because I sometimes say they paddled backwards around Madagascar and they talk about that adventure and the lessons learned. So I think you need to know these are my 3 or 4 talks, and then adapt them and adjust them as needed. So that's how I approach that. I didn't start speaking until I had one keynote, and that was about the innovation in the music industry, and everything built from there.
Okay, interesting. Dale?
Yeah, I think similarly, I will speak on topics because that's what the client has asked for. So I've been approached by organizations who say, we need help with public speaking. Can you, and they'll just they'll throw the words public speaking. So then I will talk, I have a keynote called The Speaking Formula, and I will talk about speaking. I've had clients who've asked me to develop specific communication topics, and that's where fearless feedback came from. So that was devised specifically for a conference, but I really enjoyed putting that together, so that I've developed and then spoken on it elsewhere, because people have said that that's an issue or something that they need to address in their organization. The confidence one, which is what I did for the accredited speaker, is my favorite because it's the most fun. So that's one that I do from time to time. And then I've had people attend my training workshops and then approach me afterwards and say, I love the bit about storytelling. Our organization needs to tell better stories. Can you come and do that as a talk at our conference? So, it's really what you're asked for, and again, what meets their needs. So yeah, but as you will have gathered, all of those topics fall under the umbrella of communication. I never claim to be an expert in any other field or any other area. I've been asked whether I do things on strategy or that sort of thing, and I just go, look, I can help you communicate. I can help run a workshop around better communication for that, but I stick pretty much to communication.
Yeah, even for me, sometimes when I get opportunity, I usually think, should I talk on a topic which is in my field? Because I'm basically from the IT field. Should I talk something on the technical side, or talk something on the management or leadership or communication? So most of the time when I get the opportunity, I go with other topics like communication, job market, so that it's going to help more audience who's there, rather than the tech people sitting in the audience, which will be only minimal, and they're all the time busy with the mobile phones. I know the tech people. So I also do that sometimes. So don't catch me. My mobile is switched off, our silent arm, and it's kept on one side. So what I heard just now, I was just thinking. Now we have Ewan right now present in our audience. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to use a name, but uh, I will take that liberty because I'm sure they are my mentors and our mentors. Ahmed Rizvi, who is also here with us. He comes with close to 30 years of experience in Toastmasters, mentoring, helping, leadership role, and you name it. And we have recently one of our members based in Kuwait from District 20. He wrote a book. And trust me, when he told me this book is going to motivate you to become a Toastmaster if you are not a Toastmaster, I just thought he is promoting his book. And I read half of his book. Actually, I got motivated to rejoin Toastmaster. That's he has written the book. I'm a Toastmaster already. He lost that opportunity for me, but I start feeling that I should join Toastmaster after reading his experience, which he put in his book. And then we have another personality here. Please allow me to use your name. KM Thomas is also here. And he does a lot of great work when it comes to the well-being of humans, right? So, and he's also an author. So I think these are the people who can take their experiences which they have put in the form of a book or otherwise, and make it a keynote and try to deliver it in all to the audience for the benefit to non-Toastmasters. And that's how they can motivate others, and they can take this experience as their accredited speaker keynote, which they can pursue in the future. So I'm promoting accredited speaker program here to all the three names I have mentioned. Please get in touch with all three of us, and we can see how we can have more accredited speakers. Before I proceed, I want to hear if anyone has a question so far. Please raise your virtual hands. The count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Ah,
Oh, yes. So I saw the first one is DTM Ramkumar. DTM Ramkumar, you can unmute yourself and go with your question.
Thank you. A pleasant environment here, and season's greetings to our wonderful accredited speakers. Namaste from India and across the globe. Thank you for the wonderful session, bringing us with the Program Quality Director, DTM Khalid Jalal. My question to you is, how much time as a member or a Toastmaster or a seasoned Toastmaster, does really require to become an accredited speaker? This is something that it is coming to everybody, and most of the times members are asking me this question because I'm not an accredited speaker. I'm just trying to improve my speech. So what's the time duration and minimum to maximum for the average speaker? Thank you. Over to you.
so we're going with the
Who
rule
will
that
go
I go
first,
first.
Verity?
So that's
Thank
it's
you.
a great question. And what I would say, just again, I need to reiterate it. This is not something for every single Toastmaster to be trying to do. This is only for people who are members of Toastmasters, who are authors or subject matter experts who want to be doing keynotes, running training, teaching something in front of people. It's only for those people who happen to be Toastmasters. So I think that's a very important piece. To put it into perspective, by the time I applied for the Accredited Speakers Program, I'd been speaking professionally for 15 years already. It's not, let me try and do 25 speeches and become an accredited speaker. I don't think that's necessarily the right way. I know there are people who've maybe done that, but I think that's a lot of pressure on your speaking business. It's quite an organic, well, speaking for me has been an organic journey. And you want to be out there speaking, adding value, getting booked again, getting references, going, what I'm doing is working. And when it's easy to ask 5 people to write those amazing recommendations that Dale and I were so humbled and happy to receive, that's when you're ready. So Dale, I don't know what your feeling is, but I don't think this is it's not like a DTM where you go, I know exactly what the steps are, and if I do all of that, I will be a DTM. This is, do you have something that you want to be teaching, speaking, sharing in front of people professionally? And when you've done that for long enough, and it's easy to put 25 events down, have a video, and get 5 references, that's when it's ready. So it's not a definitive timeline. I'm sorry, but Dale, maybe you've got a different perspective.
No, the only thing to add to that is that it took me 25 years, so I'm not as fast as Verity, but yes, I had been speaking and training and delivering workshops for a living. That was my career for 25 years by the time I applied for the accredited speaker. So yeah, it takes time to build up your portfolio, your contacts, and the other thing I would say is the integrity of the program. While they don't look specifically at how much you're charging and what you're doing, they do ask. And if you're speaking professionally, you need to be doing it properly. It's not a question of let's have an arrangement where you give me $100 and I do my speech and then I do another one and I collect 25 of those. That's not what it's about. It's about being a professional speaker.
I just want to add something before I go and take a question from Toastmaster Tosin. I think you don't need to fill the form upfront and do any payments to Toastmaster International. You can download the booklet from Toastmaster International website about the accredited speaker. It has all the forms which you need, even the reference form and the tracking sheet, where you can fill in which date, which client, whether it's a paid or unpaid speech you have delivered, the number of audiences. So these are the 5, 6 columns over there, and the name of the title of your keynote or your speech which you have delivered. List on all of them, keep them ready. Once you think they're ready, then send it to Toastmaster Line that you have done all this on the certain dates. Just make sure that they're authentic, because in case TI sends an email to those clients, ask for verification, they should be able to verify that. And among those, at least 5 reference letters. So you can ask all of them, like Verity mentioned. So they'll be happy, I'm sure, to fill the form, and they will send it directly to TI, not to you. So that is another thing, that they will get the confidential information and verification. So, and after that only, if this everything is fine, then you need pay, and then you proceed with that process. So payment is usually at the end. So that's safe move. Please think about it. Now, let me take the question from Toastmaster
Thank
Tosin.
you.
Tosin is our district level champion and a great trainer. Welcome, Tosin.
I'm trying to unmute. Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Good to meet you. Good to see you, DTM Khalid, and good to see you again. Verity, you may not remember, but we've spoken before, and also great to see you. Thank you so much for this session. I wanted to ask, because like DTM Khalid said, I am a trainer, but sometimes some of my work comes through virtual. And I was curious to know, is that considered, if it's paid, or even if it's not paid, but I guess some of them don't have to be paid, is that considered as part of qualification for accredited speaker? Virtual speaking?
Absolutely. As long as you've got more than 20 people in your audience, that in your virtual audience, that's
Okay,
absolutely you're still speaking.
I think,
Okay,
and
and
also,
I
as I understand it, like, this designation is for people who are also trainers. It's not just people who speak at conferences doing keynotes. If you are teaching something and people pay you for that, and you have big audiences, it doesn't matter if it's virtual or in person, it's that this is what you do, and you could go to the convention and do a really interesting 18 minutes for the Toastmasters audiences, teaching them your content. That's what they're looking for.
Yes, I was actually in Anaheim, and it was an amazing experience to see all the ladies who participated in the program. Just to get clarification, I believe the submission has to be within 3 years, if I'm correct. 3 years of, right? What you've done in 3 years. So
Last 3
Yes.
years. Yeah.
last 3
3 years.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
someone
great.
could start, and I loved Khalid's idea of download the forms, and you could start today. As you get a paid gig, you just start filling in the form. If you get 25 over the next 3 years, you can apply in 3 years' time, and you filled it in, which is fabulous. You're not having to go, when did I do that? What was that? So I think it's a really good way to go about it. And if you pass level 1, then you have 3 attempts at level 2. Yeah.
Okay, great. Very encouraging and inspiring. Thank you so much,
What's
both
your
of you.
subject matter, Tosin?
I speak on leadership and understanding personalities, because I'm
Okay.
also certified DISC. Oh, Dale, I remember now. You gave a talk. I was part of the Celebrate Centennial, and I remember watching your speech. I'm saying, yeah, that's something I like to talk about. So yes, thanks for bringing that up. I had forgotten that you were part of our panels. So both of you actually. This was for another club in a different district. So great to meet both of you again.
We all cross paths.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Tosin, I'll send you invoice in a while for reconnecting both of you. Any other question from the audience? 1, 2, 3. Toastmaster
Yes.
Osama Jabri, please unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you very much for two lovely ladies for participating in this one and enriching our meeting. In fact, first of all, I would like to apologize for the mistake I made. And I told two lovely ladies from Australia. I did not know that we have one from the east, one from the west, one from Australia and one from South Africa. So regret for this mistake. And maybe next time we'll have somebody from North America and somebody from Papua New Guinea somewhere. My question is, I know many people, they are professional public speaker, they are professional coaches, and they are professional trainer, but they are not accredited speaker. And companies, they call them, they ask them to come, and they well paid, to speak frankly, but they are not accredited speaker. What is the difference between for you before accredited speaker and after the accredited speaker certification, other than the exposure? To speak frankly, I noticed that that it's a long process. While people, they did not do it. Some coaches did not do it even. And for both of you, you have reached the top of the why is my camera is not open? I'm sorry for this one. I'm talking in dark. Now you know me. And I noticed that you have reached the higher level and the Toastmaster, and you were becoming a champion. So it means that you have reached the top of the Toastmaster. So what is the difference between DTM Dale or TDM Verities before the accredited speaker and after the accredited speaker, other than the exposure or they become a popular or a well-known person? Thank you.
Dale, do you want to go first? Because my one's always complicated.
Mine's pretty simple. So I've definitely received a few coaching clients who have told me that they chose me because I had accredited speaker next to my title. So and that's hardly enough to retire on, but it's definitely brought me in a few extra clients. But I think one of the most exciting developments for me was recently I got called into a law firm where they showed the accredited speaker video and they liked it so much that they called me in to ask about delivering workshops for them. And I've actually taken on a permanent part-time contract with them. So I'll be delivering their training 2 days a week from now on, and obviously still have time to work on my business in the rest of the week. So that was something that came about by having that video available of the accredited speaker performance in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. It's been a long week. Yeah. So for me, that was a very direct payoff, direct correlation and win from having done the program.
Fabulous. And from my side, the reason it's complicated is if you win the World Championship of Public Speaking, it overshadows a lot of things. So that had done so much for my career already that when I got the accredited speaker, it was a fabulous milestone for me personally. It gave me this incredible, I got to be with Dale, we got to do the Bahamas, I got to meet Toastmasters, it was fabulous. But in terms of my professional career, I think the fact that I had a title of world champion already kind of overshadowed it, which, I mean, they're totally different, but that was interesting for me, realizing that's what clients focus on. If I hadn't won that, I know this would have been very valuable for getting new work. It's, you know, from a LinkedIn perspective, it's anything that's that extra stamp of approval. It's why people do PhDs, and you want to put the word doctor in front of your name. It's like why we like saying DTM. You've worked hard to get that, and people recognize it. You're still probably doing this, you're doing the same work you did before the title, that you will do after the title, but the title does help, as Dale says. It helps people go, oh, actually, yes, let me talk to you, let me think about booking you. And it does make a difference. But I had the interesting one of having 2 titles, and people already had engaged with me because of the World Championship.
I think the other thing is people respond to scarcity. There's that, it's in a similar way, what makes you special. And I've definitely noticed that at events when I'm introduced, now I've already been booked, so it's not like I've got something extra or whatever. I'm there. But in the introduction, when they say, and she's the only woman in Australia to get the accredited speaker designation, you can see the audience sit up like, oh, we better listen. Or this is someone who's worth giving our attention. So I think there's that added value that the audience are getting perceived value from who you are. It's even not knowing what an accredited speaker is or means to them, it's just that scarcity principle that applies.
I love that.
I just want to add something here. Two points. Number one, there was someone who approached me and said, Khalid, we are running a workshop in Dubai and I want you to be a speaker. And when he told me the subject, and I told him, I'm not good in that subject because that's not my field. He said, but you're a Toastmaster, right? I said, yes. He said, then you can speak. I said, but that's not my area of expertise, right? How can I speak in front of the
Good
audience?
for you.
Then he just said, aren't you a Toastmaster? I said, yes, but I'm not an expert. He said, oh, don't worry, you can speak, please come. See, that word Toastmaster itself has given them so much confidence that if he's a Toastmaster, he can speak. Right? That confidence level the audience already have, those who know about Toastmaster. And adding the accredited speaker title next to it. And I just want to give a reference to our own accredited speaker in our own district, and specifically being Bahrain because Toastmaster Osama is based in Bahrain, is DTM Muhammad Shukri. I mean, how many opportunities others get versus Muhammad Shukri? Anyone see his name? They say, oh, okay, Khalid, I think we'll call you later on. So we'll go that direction, right? So you can see that channel, that difference. Of course, he's an expert. He has spent all his career span in safety and security. So, and he's an expert. People recognize his knowledge and experience, and they invite him. So that experience is important. That's why our speakers here mentioned that your subject matter expertise is very important. You talk on something which you are expert in, and based on that, when people see you are also accredited or certified, you'll have more weightage than somebody else. Right? There's a question from the audience. I think the point is clear. Toastmaster Osama, can we proceed? Silence is acceptance. Thank you. I heard that line from a movie. Say, if you are in the court and if you stay silent, that means you are accepting the thing. So that's why I use it. If you're silent, that means you're saying okay. There's a question from the audience saying that is a hybrid considered to be fine? For example, it can be an online 20 audience, can be in person 20 plus audiences, or if it is hybrid setup, will that be considered? The answer is yes, is verified.
Presenting is presenting. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as there's an audience.
That's correct. Audience is important. Okay, Osama, your hand is still raised. You have any more question, or it is from the previous? Hearing none from him, so I consider it is done. Okay, silence is acceptance.
No, it's sorry for this one, but the host is not allowing me to unmute myself. Therefore, I could not answer.
Okay.
But thank you very much for your answer. Very, very interactive, and appreciate all the answer. Thank you from the both beautiful ladies.
He's not
Of course, I'm not talking about
anyway.
DTM Khalid.
Thank you very much for recognizing me. Dale and Verity, we are living in a time period, especially last term and this term, where we see attendance in the clubs itself is a challenge. Attendance in conferences is a challenge. although in a bigger conference, there is a movement, the audience is increasing, but it's a challenge. How do you see that someone needs to balance their professional career, work towards the professional career, and also pursue towards the accredited speaker or Toastmasters? And what will be your experience in this, where the uh, pressure on the individuals is very high towards their job and family, then thinking of something like Toastmaster or accredited speaker, and what can be done to motivate them to pursue still, because this is going to be something helpful for the future. Ladies, to decide.
From my side, I think if you, and I find it, I must say, the busier I've gotten professionally, the harder it is for me to be a proper contributing active member. I am still a Toastmasters member, but I think I made 3 meetings this year because I'm with Toastmasters every week around the world. So I've had to shift how I serve in Toastmasters, but I often feel guilty that I am not active in my club. But if someone is trying to build their career to a point that they're so busy that it's hard to be active in their club, I really use Toastmasters to make myself a better speaker. It's the only reason I could end up winning the contest was because I was an active speaker. Even though I was professional, I had a job, I prioritized, it was 1 meeting a month. My club met once a month. I prioritized being there for that meeting, and I did that for 8 years, and it made such a difference in my life. So it's a personal choice. If something's important to you, it's amazing how you find time. And I see that in Toastmasters, the people who consistently show up, they're making time. They make that time important, because we somehow are busy but still make time for Netflix. Even the people who tell me, so it's what are we what are we prioritizing? So it's a choice. And from the accredited speaker's perspective, if you're working professionally as a speaker, then again, it's actually not that hard to fill in those forms because you're doing all the work. But I found being an active member for me, when I had the time and I really was prioritizing it, it actually wasn't that difficult. It's become harder now because I share myself with so much of Toastmasters, and that serves my club as well, because they like to hear what I've been doing. So that's my answer. I don't know if it answers the question correctly. I'm sure Dale will have something more valuable to add.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the whole work-life balance thing, seeing what works for you is going to be individual. And I think I'm actually at a point where I'm looking at the year ahead, and I am going to have to leave one of my daytime clubs simply because I have to prioritize work and career in the daytime hours. So I'll carry on visiting my 2 other clubs, which are evening and weekend clubs, and I will continue to maintain my involvement there. But if I'm going to have time to work and energy to do everything, something's got to give. So I think it's about balance, and as Verity said, serving the wider Toastmasters community. I'm not nearly as popular as Verity, obviously, but I still now and then get invited to clubs and special events and things, and I'd love to be able to do that and be involved in those things. So I try to accept where I can, but yeah, you've got to, in my case, look after my health, look after my energy, and protect my career. So it's that balancing act.
Could I add on to that?
Yes,
I'm not sure.
yes, Verity, please go ahead.
I just want to add on it. It's funny that you've asked this question, and I was thinking about it yesterday because I feel the pull of not being able to be as present as I'd like to be for my club. And then I thought Toastmasters is really an organization where people either join for a reason, they're overcoming the fear of public speaking, or they need to get better at their job, or they want to work on their leadership skills. And a lot of those people join for a season. and you see that, you know, they're there for a year, 2 years, and then there's something else. And then there's Toastmasters, like some people we're saying here have been members for 30 years. We join for a lifetime. So I've had to accept I am going to be a lifetime member of Toastmasters, but that doesn't mean I'm always going to be a very active in terms of doing the pro, because I've done everything that you can do now. I could just try and finish all the pathways, but I know that I'm a lifetime member because I get so much value from being at sessions like this. When I do get to my club, I've never left a Toastmasters meeting not completely enriched and fulfilled and inspired. But a lot of people join for a reason and a season. And I think from a leadership perspective, eventually you just have to accept that it is going to be people dip in and out, but there's many of us, once it's bitten, we're not going anywhere, but our levels of involvement will fluctuate.
True. Usually, when we start thinking, okay, we will have a keynote speech, or I want to be a public speaker, I want to talk about something. Or if someone is asking me to think of accredited speaker, we always say, what is your area of expertise? To find out the niche within you. I mean, what advice you have for all of us to find that niche within us, that what is we need to think of when we are good in it? How do we find that hidden thing? We know we are good at something, but we don't know what it is. Then Angie.
Dale, I'm going to let you get started.
I think the first area is what is your expertise, and I applaud you, Khalid, for declining that speaking engagement outside of your area, because I don't think you serve yourself or your audience if you try and sort of make it through in something that is not your expertise. So I think making sure you know your subject matter and you have experience in it. And then I think the second element to make the speaking world is, what is the unique angle that you can bring to it? So one of the members of Keystone Speakers, which is the accredited speaker club that, or the club that focuses on helping people reach the accredited speaker designation, one of the members there has a pumpkin patch, and she competes in pumpkin growing competitions. And she's got these photos of giant pumpkins. I mean, it's extraordinary. But she's worked extensively in project management and running teams. So she talks about leadership and project management, but using the pumpkins as her, you know, the experience of growing pumpkins and the lessons that she's got. And then how does that apply to project management? So she's got this really unique angle with fabulous visuals and a way of presenting that information that no one else dealing with that topic will have. It's fresh and it's unusual. So I think it's about looking at your life and going, what have you got that is yours, and how do you capitalize on that and leverage it with your expertise to be an engaging speaker?
Oh, I love that, Dale. I really do. I think that is what makes for speakers who get booked again is, again, you're talking about that rare and valuable, that unique, something different. And I think sometimes we look at speaking as all about the subject matter. It's also about the person and what is your unique take. So I don't have anything I speak on where I don't have a personal story of how that content changed my life. And so I always use my personal journey, and then I take them through theory and content and learning and frameworks, but I don't talk on things that I haven't lived. And the more unique it is, and sometimes people don't see the value in their lived experience. Anyone on this call, you could look back saying exactly that. I used to be, you know, a synchronized swimmer at school, and actually it taught me 5 important principles that you could apply in the workplace. If you take that leap and use old pictures and do it in a fascinating way, suddenly people want to hear this story. So I've got a friend here who's one of the busiest speakers in South Africa. He was a safari guide. He was a game ranger for 15 years, living in the bush with animals. That's what he did for a living. And he suddenly one day started looking at lions, leopards, and cheetahs and the way they survived and thrived in the wild. And he was like, this is what should happen in businesses. And he speaks all over the world with his wildlife photography, giving insights on leadership based on those big cats. And of course, that's going to stand out. It's very easy for someone to book it. So look at your lived experience. Can you apply it? Like the pumpkins, I love that, to your content. Now it's fun for the audience. Now it's not just, and now I'm going to take you through the 5-step formula. It's just, where's your lived experience that's going to make your content valuable?
I was just thinking of my school days right now while listening to both of you. I just finished my 8th standard and I jumped to the 9th standard. That's why we decide either we study science or commerce. We had only 2 options in those days. So I decided I'll go with the non-science subjects because I wanted to become a lawyer. But my physics teacher came down to my class. He pulled me out of my class and he said, this is not for you. You should be in the science class. I told him I can't become a lawyer if I study science. He said, no, you can't be a lawyer because you're not meant for lawyer. So see, it's a teacher who thinks about you. And in Toastmaster, we call them the mentors. The mentors know about us, they help us and guide us which path to take and reach there. And I'm sure he must have realized that I'm not a liar, so I can't be a lawyer, maybe. No, nothing, just I'm joking about it, but he knew that I'm not meant for it. Yeah, that's how they can judge and guide you. So you think if anyone wants to start their journey towards accredited speaker, what is the role of being a mentor with them and how they can look for a mentor?
I think it's very important to have a mentor. I know when I started applying, Cheryl Roosh was unbelievably supportive and helpful. And there's a whole community of accredited speakers. If you go onto the website, you can see all the names, and a lot of them want to support people in those journeys. I see Dale putting in their Keystone speakers, join a club that is completely aligned with helping you do that. But ask people who've been there. They'll have a look at your content, maybe give you some feedback. It's not coaching, but it is just that guidance and mentorship. And it really helps. I needed insight. Is this video okay? Do you like my introduction? Because you want to ask someone who's already done it. And what's lovely, this is not a competition. It's not a contest. You're not competing against the other speakers. So no one is going to beat anyone else. They are judging you on your merit. And that's why I think it is so inclusive. Whereas contests, people are a little bit like, oh, I don't want to show you my speech. So yeah, mentorship is very important.
Dave?
I think Verity said it all on that one. I think if you're looking for an accredited speaker mentor on the website, on the Toastmasters website, under the accredited speaker section, you'll find the list of people willing to mentor. But again, to clarify and reiterate what Verity said, a mentor will help you understand the application process, and you can ask them questions about what you're doing. But if you want feedback on your talk or help with crafting a keynote, that's coaching. And then you should expect to pay a professional for that. And, again, I think any of the accredited speakers might be willing to help in that area. But just, be mindful of what you're asking them to do, and the mentoring is around the process. But if you join Keystone Speakers, just a little plug there, you can practice your keynote there, you can get feedback. There's accredited speakers there who will tell you if you're on the right track. So then you get everything. So that's something to consider.
That's great. We also have something called Speakers Bureau, where we are
Mhm.
helping our members, if they join, to
Mhm.
speak for longer time, more than 7 minutes, and that's how they practice. Thank you very much. I can
Excellent.
see our TLI chair has raised his hand. Yes, just Master Dinesh.
Thank you very much, DTM Khalid. I have the two questions with the both accredited speaker. Who would like to go first?
I'll go
DTM
first.
Verity? Okay.
Gail.
So my first question is that to you, what inspired you to pursue the accredited speaker designation, and what was the most challenging part of that journey?
Most challenging
I
part
hope
of
my
the
question
journey.
is clear.
Yes, thank you. I had a lot of people in Australia, in Sydney, telling me, you've got to get it, you've got to get it. And particularly women, we want a woman accredited speaker, go for it, go for it. So I could say that I was largely pushed. And as I said earlier, just also it was there. I was ready. I had lots of engagements. Filling out the form was not difficult, so the time was right. And what was the second part of the question?
What
Challenging.
What
challenges
was
you
the
have
most challenging part of the journey?
The most challenging part was getting the video, getting that video footage, and yeah, it was really difficult to get an engagement that enabled me to film it. Yeah, I think that was probably the hardest part. But once you get through level 1, the rest was just super exciting.
Thank you
So,
very much. So second question to DTM Verity.
yes.
What is one key lesson you have learned from your experience as an accredited speaker and that you would like to share with aspiring speakers?
Gosh, that's a big question, the big lesson. Oh my word, you've got me. It's like a table topics, and I'll have to go. I'm out. I think the big thing for me out of all of it is it's an extraordinary journey to acknowledge your progression as a speaker. And it really is a gift to put that time, because Dale will agree with me. I think we're always just working. You're working and you're happy to get the bookings. But to actually spend some time going, I'm going to put what I do onto a stage where it gets judged, because the only judgment for us is if people book you again or not. You don't get a judgment, like a judge's sheet. I mean, and they let you read their feedback, which was that was the most challenging part for me. I got some very honest feedback from some of the judges, and we're not used to seeing what judges say about us in Toastmasters other than the results. But it really was a beautiful lesson of realizing how much my clients believed in me, knowing how much they rooted for me, realizing all the work I'd done, and just enjoying it. We're about to have my child walk into the session. And yes, darling, I'm just in the middle of a talk. Do you want to say hello to everyone in Bahrain? Sorry. Where's he gone? Say hello.
Hello.
Yes, I
Hello.
I forgot to lock the door. It's Saturday morning. I'm coming, my dear. But yeah, that was the best part for me, was really taking time out to look at my journey and realize it was at a point that I could apply for this designation.
Thank you very much, DTM Verity.
Thank you
DTM
very
Khalid,
much.
all you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dinesh, for this question. Yeah, if anyone has a question from the audience. 1, 2, 3. Yes, DTM Ram.
Thank
Yes,
you once
Ram, go ahead.
again. Wonderful to hear from our, accredited speaker as well, Prikkodi. One thing that is what is pondering me, please help us know. Many of them do not speak English because it's not their primary language. Perhaps They're not good in English, but they have that zeal, that zest to reach the zenith, not just limited to the accredited speaker. So what's your message for them who are non-speaking English speakers, who are not actually very good or profound speakers like European speak, like you speak, like Forest Asian speaks? What's the message you want to give? And are people like average speakers, but they are very good in the subject matter, but they cannot actually speak it out, pour it out in their own words. What's the message? Still, they have a lot more on their plate to learn. Yes, it's a lifelong journey. May I ask our leaders here and the accredited speaker to enlighten on this? Thank you. Over to you.
Dale, I don't know if you want to weigh in. Where you?
My instinctive response is that's what Toastmasters is for.
Yeah.
If they have the expertise but need the speaking skills, that's what Toastmasters is for. It's a long road and long journey, and I come from a mindset of anything you put your mind to, if you're prepared to do the work, you can get the results. So second language speakers, I mean, we've had a lot of people go very far in their second language in the Toastmasters space. So I acknowledge certainly harder, but definitely not an obstacle.
And if they are professional speakers in their home language, then I think what you've just flagged, Ram, is the fact that this is an English judged accreditation, but that doesn't mean in your home countries you might not have professional speaking bureaus that they could be members of and become certified speaking professionals, which would be judged in their language. And that would be my suggestion. This is one accreditation. You also get the certified speaking professional, which is actually easier to get than the accredited speakers, and it will work in your country. So rather than make it about I'm a subject matter expert and I'm brilliant in my language, I must do this in English, get the designation that says you're a professional speaker in your country. But if you're trying to become a good speaker, then as Dale says, then use Toastmasters. Don't be chasing accredited speakers for a long time. That comes when you're making money from speaking.
Do we have a smart capsule to engage them, those who are interested to become accredited speaker with a coaching, mentoring? Please, you may share it in the link, all yours. Thank you for the wonderful answers you've given. Very apt, very useful, informative, and a quality session we had. I enjoyed it totally. Thank you. Hats off and happy season's greetings. May Santa Claus brings you lots of laurels, appreciates, and prosperity ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, DTM Ram.
Thank you, Doctor.
Now, as we have shown the red light, it's time to conclude our fireside chat, and that's what fireside chat is. We ask a lot of questions and get all the answers clarified, challenge each other, and to make sure all the knowledge is shared with everyone. So let me say thank you very much, DTM Dale, DTM Verity Prize, for giving your time to us, to our entire District 20 members. We are honored to have you for the session today, and Dale, for all the previous sessions you've been with us. You have actually opened a lot of thoughts, the doors, the path for many of us to think about accredited speaker, pursue towards keynote preparation and delivering them in public, and making that maybe as a career going forward. And I'm sure many will be inspired from these sessions, and they will be taking it up very soon if they have not started already. Some of them they have, I believe they have started, they're keeping quiet, but they will be starting it, I'm sure, and we'll be seeing a lot of positive journey for our members.